afternoon, and or good evening, Free Enterprise friendos, and welcome to Game 3 of the Highway to the Threemus Zone final match between first seed dustygriff and 12th seed HTT3Z. I'm one of your commentators, Asuka424, and joining me this lovely day is the fantastic LMMotoss. So, Motoss, how you doing?
I'm pretty well, and hello to all the viewers out there. We have a varied set of objectives tonight. It looks like we have complete the sealed cave, drop the magma key in the Agart well, and complete Cave Bahamut. I'm very thrilled to see objectives both on Earth and on the moon today. It's going to make it really tough to complete the seed in a jet fashion.
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty much going everywhere. Plus we have a DKC start, so with that vanilla agility in play, some people don't necessarily like taking Cecil with them, but you know what? Our fantastic restreamer Smapey said, here, you're going to take a Cecil whether you like it or not. So we have our agility anchor already here. So that's going to be interesting to think about.
Yeah, if you're going to have vanilla agility, it may as well be the choice taken away from you, because at least you know your opponent has to deal with it as well.
Agreed. And with that Cecil, we do want to look at that Forge, because you don't always see people go for the Forge objective, but we can get the Holy Sword Excalibur, which could potentially help a Cecil. Or if we happen to find a second Cecil, we can help that one go burr as soon as they go through Mount Ordeals.
Yeah, and I feel like we should talk about the elephant in the room here. This is the finals of the Highway to the Threemus Zone, and it's best 3 out of 5. And dustygriff is coming into this match 2 wins up. So Dusty wins this, the tournament's over.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of pressure riding on Fleury's shoulders right now. Looking back in games 1 and 2, I found interesting is Fleury in game 1 made the check for he was the people's runner, made the music check, it became a dud, and dustygriff took the lead on that point. In game 2, however, the music was not just required, it was hard required, and Dusty went there first. So Fleury's been getting bitten by that rando bug, so hopefully he can eke out a win, because I don't know about you, I want to see more Free Enterprise.
Yeah, this has been so many matches and so many restreamed races that we could get 2 more. We could get just tonight. So enjoy it while it lasts, and let's have a good match.
Yeah, and talking about all the matches, we've restreamed over 260 some different matches throughout this whole tournament. I mean, there is a monstrous and amazing team of restreamers, trackers, and commentators that have been busting their butts to make these fantastic shows for everybody, and we would not be here without every single one of them. So quick shout outs to, again, our restreamer Smapey and our tracker for the evening, Aegis. Yeah, we are getting ready we're going to start pretty soon. There's a little bit of delay at the beginning, so we should be kicking off in the next minute or 2. But yeah, I'm curious to see who our friend is for Dark Knight Cecil, and whether or not they join us on the road to Game 3, or they go and hide in, the Crystal Room, and see to get picked later on.
Yeah, the available characters at the beginning is going to determine the rest of the strategy of our players. If they can find some early mages, it will definitely put their minds at ease for the late game. We have been seeing mage-heavy parties thanks to the lack of Bacchus wine in this version of the flags for the tournament. And it looks like we are on our way.
All right, so we have Dark Knight Cecil being joined with, Wella then. That is a Tella. That will be instantly brought into the party for both of them, most likely.
Yeah, Tella is an absolute win here for our players. We need him in order to enable the level grinds. Due to the early availability of week, all you have to do is complete Mount Ordeals. Tella is exactly the character that our players were looking for. We would have liked to find some other mages here at the beginning as well, but he's vital.
Yeah, and honestly, it's nice knowing that you have your Tella already, instead of constantly doing character checks, not finding Tella and thinking, okay, am I going to be able to do the fast D machine grind, or is Tella not going to be there and I'm going to have to maybe do like a Mac Giant, or even a weirder one like maybe trap chests or hair dryers or something, some other type of grind that is significantly slower.
Yeah, having Tella right away can enable our players to maybe skip a few character checks that they would normally do. We do find the Demist already in the Baron Inn.
And that is going to be, and that is a bonus key item check plus Iridia, which is a black mage. So Baron Inn is looking pretty spicy right now.
Yeah, ideally our players will find one white mage and two black mages who can cast Nuke to fill out the rest of their party at this point. So knowing that we have another black mage available is once again going to help our players make decisions further down the line.
And going to the water pass is the best character in the game, in my personal opinion. Fight me, you can at me at this. We have our Bard, Edward, and he'll probably not be taken because Bard without a spoon.
Oof, yeah, there are some definitely niche uses of Edward, even in this flag set without the spoon, but until those situations present themselves and basically force our players to take him, he is going to be hanging out in the Tower of Wishes for sure.
Yeah, and it looks like there's going to be a second Rydia in play. Damsian is the home of another Rydia, and one that you don't necessarily have to fight for.
Yeah, and we may see our players skip taking Rydia right now, just so that they can actually slingshot her later. She's one of the more popular slingshot targets because she learns Nuke much later than kind of the main black mage of the game, Palom.
Agreed. And looking in the, oh wow, that is a lightsaber. So we do have a Jedi on our team now once we finish Ordeals. This area of the water pass has been pretty beneficial. I saw a samurai bow, I believe, and I think a wind spear at some point. So we've got some good loot coming there. That was definitely some value.
Yeah, and I mean, back row Cecil with cover can help you, even if he's not going to contribute offensively too much. It's definitely a viable strategy to use him as a cover bot through the mid game for sure.
Yeah, agreed. And I believe, I want to say it was in a different area of the water pass. We also found a silent staff, which is a pretty nice bonk stick for our white mages, or our Tella if that turns out to be the one that's going to be using it for a while.
Yeah, Tella's stats are kind of lackluster, so if you actually have to use him on offense, it's very nice to get some nice stat sticks for him early.
And chat seemed to catch something that I missed, that the dancing dagger has also been found. So that is a great starting dagger for characters like Edward if they want to get them, or potentially Rydia or some other character. It's a great weapon to have for characters that don't necessarily do a lot of damage physically, but now they're kind of useful if they use the dancing dagger as an item during those fights.
Yeah, it's especially nice for mages. Most of the mage characters can equip daggers, and it also is guaranteed to hit, which is another thing that mages really struggle to do physically in the early game.
Ooh, I did not realize that was a guaranteed hit. That is actually really nice to know. Let me just take a note on that one. Yeah, we have Fleury going to Mount Hobbs to see who that hostage is, and it turns out to be a second Cecil. And that Cecil is having a conversation with either a full leg or a 25% leg. So we do have our second Cecil option on the table now.
Yeah, if we were earlier in the tournament in the group flags, it would be very tempting to take that Cecil once you knew you had good weapons for him. But without Bacchus wines, it becomes less useful.
Agreed. And let's see, we have Fleury doing all the character checks right now. He is heading up Ordeals, and as it turns out, I know you have a Tella, but how about second Tella?
Yeah, what a shame. We will not be seeing either runner pick up a second Tella.
Yeah, that's Tella's one of those mages that you want one, but you really don't want two. One old man yelling at clouds are more than enough. But looking at Dusty's screen, we have our second black mage with a Palom and a cane. So this is going to be interesting. That Palom is definitely a good choice to take right now.
Yeah, we can see here the characters available here on the overworld are basically giving the runners all of the tools they're going to need for the rest of the game. They're finding exactly what they need, basically. The only question is the second Cecil can be nice because your primary Cecil can be your agility anchor, and then you can have a Cecil that you don't have to kind of deliberately nerf. But otherwise, if you're not going physical attacks, these mages are really hard to pass up.
Well, what's very interesting is looking at Fleury's party. Fleury took the cane but said no to Palom. On the other hand, Dusty said no to Cane but took the Palom, and both of them have Iridia in their party, so I'm kind of surprised by that. The only thing I can think of is maybe Fleury saw the items that he was getting for his Dragoon and said, you know what, Cane is going to be online and I'm set there, but that is a highly interesting choice.
Yeah, and that can come into play in a big way later because that will allow Fleury, when he takes that mage, to slingshot them later, whereas dustygriff is going to have to deal with whatever levels his mages get throughout the game.
That's a good point. And as Fleury is checking out the Antlion Cave to take on the boss in the Antlion Cave, we have Dusty checking out the summon at Mount Hobbs, and a survey says...
Ooh, it's the sylphs. That's extremely useful.
Wow, this is a very, very generous summon here.
Yeah, Sylph is great because as long as you have the MP to cast it and Iridia is not in the middle slot, it doesn't actually subtract the MP, and it also heals your whole party. It's a very nice summon to pick up, especially since we've already found Leviathan as well. No surprise that both players have taken Iridia at this point.
Yeah, now it's just going to be a matter of whether or not Fleury checks that summon. I mean, you can find it elsewhere, you can purchase it, but I mean, just having it given to you is pretty much saying, here's the keys to your white mage problems. Enjoy.
And Dustygriff is actually fighting the battle on Hobbs as well, which happens to be Rubicund. So we'll have to see if he didn't take the other Cecil. But he wants to get the boss out of the way. I don't know if that's for experience or just to save that Cecil for later in case he wants to pick him up.
I could see it being a little bit of both. I mean, especially with that Iridia, she does start off at level 1, so the earlier we get a little bit of MP on her, the better. And I would like to also thank Dathis for stopping by and helping Smithy roll this seed, because we have a vanilla Antlion at the Antlion Cave.
That's 1,000 hit points that are going to melt away here quite quickly to that cane. Wow, nice 500 jump.
And honestly, one thing I've noticed about Antlion is Antlion gets very punchy in stronger areas. So anytime I can find an Antlion earlier in the boss areas, the happier I am.
All right, and the Antlion Cave does reward the Twin Harp, so it looks like we might get music tonight.
So game 1 turned out to be dead. Game 2, hard required. In both games, we had some fantastic new music by the equally fantastic Calamity. Are we going to get that Twin Harp check for game 3? I know what chat wants. I'm seeing those harps immediately appear, and I don't blame you, chat.
Yeah, in case you haven't watched the other matches of the finals, the music of these final seeds has been deliberately inserted, so it is known by Asuka424 what the music is, and it's completely custom, never before heard harp music for these matches.
And actually, same thing for our final sprites for game 1, game 2, and certainly game 3. Scala has done some amazing new sprites for these fantastic finals matches, so we get to see a brand new Z-Butt today. That being said, as Dusty is going to check out Antlion Cave, Fleury is showing us who is the Fabul boss, and we've got a lot of dialogue to get through.
Yes, this is Sir Cutscene himself, Dr. Luge. Very nice boss. I mean, wherever you see him, the HP pool is split up, so it makes it kind of easy to get through. and he's not super dangerous physically as well, so it is kind of a downer for the runners that they're seeing him this early, but at least they know, if there's going to be a boss that has long cutscenes, you pretty much know your opponent is going to check this location as well, so they're going to waste the same amount of time as you.
And I would just like to point out that on Fleury's screen, that combination of the two, every time I see that, I immediately think of a robot chicken, not like the Robot Chicken Cartoon Network version, but just a robot with a chicken head. I can't unsee it, and I hope that everyone in chat can no longer unsee it as well.
I have never seen it that way, and now I can't stop.
You are welcome! Only for the finals.
Like Dusty is taking a little bit of a detour over to Mount Ordeals. I believe he may actually go up rather than just checking the character now.
Yeah, with that party, I wouldn't be surprised if he starts making his way up to Ordeals. Getting Tella online is always a nice thing. Getting Cecil into Paladin mode is also fantastic. Fleury got through Dr. Dialogue, finished that business, and we have a second tail to go with our starting rat tail.
That'd be nice when we get the hook.
Yeah, I'd pretty much call this seed the Miles per hour seed, but that's a fairly narrow strike range.
And I like this play from Dusty as well, especially knowing you've already found a lightsaber, so Paladin and Cecil will at least be able to contribute.
Side note, I think the chat's going to be Shepard's crooking me off of this pretty soon here. But Robotnik would be the robot chicken pixel tamer, just throwing that out there. And, ooh, it looks like our first boss on Mount Ordeals. Had a little bit of hope seeing that blue robe, but we have another free fight with the Water Hag. 3 bonks, and that fight is done.
We have a moon objective here in the form of Cave Bahamut. And who knows, we may need to find other key items in the moon bosses as well. And I always like to say, remember, every free boss we see on the overworld means a potential bad boss on the moon.
Agreed. Like, you have those fun ones like Wyvern, like Ogopogo, like the Alt Gauntlet somewhere on the moon. I know with everyone's favorite thing is Alt Gauntlet at the Ogopogo spot, but that's because we are a kind and generous viewership.
Yeah, I like to see some hard bosses in the Fey March as well, because you never know. And speaking of free bosses, here's some more guards. We're checking off the easy boxes a little early here.
In a way, it's unfortunate to see so many free bosses so early, but at the same time, at the back of my mind, I'm going, okay, that means you're not in a hard spot. Like you said before, it's the more free we see now, the less free we see later on. So I'm okay with this.
Yeah, from the player perspective, it is actually a little nicer this way because, once you get the Darkness Crystal, basically you're ready to grind. So if there are hard bosses later, at least you'll have the levels to back you up.
That is a very good point. So it looks like Dusty will be doing the retreat strat where you kill the 3 soldiers, and eventually the officer says, nope, I'm out, and just leaves. Another option you can do is kill the officer first, and then the soldiers are very confused and they start hitting each other. Dusty went for the, probably quicker version.
Yeah, and keep in mind, folks, that just because the magma key is one of the objectives does not mean it's necessarily the way we're going to get underground. We could have a required hook route with the magma key buried underground or on the moon by itself.
Agreed, and it looks like Ordeals is giving 1/2 of the Forge objective. Probably realized that we did have Cecil's in play here. We have an Adamant Rock, so what they would be looking for then is the Legend Sword. Once we can go underground, we can take those 2 items, forge the Excalibur, and get access to the best shop in the game, the Copal Shop.
Yeah, knowing that you're only a Legend Sword away from getting Excalibur Cecil online has got to feel nice for Dusty right now.
Agreed. And it looks like Fleury heard the call and is heading to Ordeals himself. He'll be seeing those pretty free fights. Looks like we finished Mount Ordeals with some sushi, which went down pretty quickly. That's for me, that's a nice boss to see right there. It's a pretty speedy boss that can start off really out of hand, but with that low HP location, I'm happy to see that.
And now that we've seen Ordeals, between both of our players, we're kind of running out of options. Baron Inn looks to be like where we need to go.
Yeah, and for all we know, it could be the Baron Inn combo fight that has the way underground, or it could be that D-Mist that has the way underground. So it should be interesting to see which one that is.
I'm hoping for a complete strikeout and us having to go to Cave Magnus.
Yeah, I would like to put my vote in for that one as well, too. Now, it should be noted that with our way underground, there are certain enemies or certain bosses that cannot gate the way underground. They are just too annoying, too, oh heck, that a little too rude. So if you come across a Golbez, if you come across a Valvalis, or if you come across a Wyvern, and either of those above ground give you the hook, that tells you, oh, that means there's a magma key floating around too, because those three bosses in this flag set cannot gate your underground access.
Yeah, this is the one time that I actually want to commentator's curse. Please, progression to Twin Harp.
Right? We have Dr. Cossack in chat saying, D-Mist gives Earth Crystal and Zot has the underground. You know, I'm a fan of rabbit holes. I fall in them all the time. I'd love to see the runners do the same.
Yeah, if we have a rabbit hole chase through the overworld to get underground, that actually bears pretty well for dustygriff. I think in an all-and-out sprint, it's very difficult to beat Dusty's execution. So if you take the same exact path as him, it's very difficult to come ahead.
Agree. Yeah, Dusty is pretty much one of the most technical players and runners of Free Enterprise. So and I think Fleury is, well, he's been on the receiving end in games 1 and 2 of that, so hopefully Dusty or Fleury has figured out a way to crack the Dusty egg and found some type of divergence that will give him a leg up.
And meanwhile, Dusty has found Bahamut in the second fight in the Baron Inn. This is going to be no contest here. Dusty is definitely going to get through this fight quite easily. It's a very slow spot. The countdown is not even close to being done and through.
Question from the chat. Let me see what the key item is. It is the tower key. Pilot asks, can the game troll you with D-Mist here and then Golbez or etc. show up at part 2? Absolutely. And the reason being is you'll know that the Baron Inn fight will not have mandatory underground progression. D-Mist is a separate key item, so you can go to D-Mist instead and check to see what that is. So there can be actually, no, you know what? Hold on, let me think about that. I think it would be separate. So it can have, D-Mist can still have underground access, even if the 3 gated ones are in the second spot. Okay, Leggies, got me. I am mistaken then. So that would mean they are both gated? Well, in that case, I'm all for music.
We're about to see if the D-Mist is a strikeout and music is required. Let's see what the item is.
Ooh, there it is.
Oh, we've been foiled, folks. It looks like the music may have to wait. dustygriff is almost certainly going to go drop that magma key right now.
And going and using the magma key right away gives a lot more things to take a look at. You get your free key item out of the Feymarch chest. You get to see the Feymarch bosses, the King and Queen of Monsters. You just got a lot more shops, gated shops, mind you. And we now have the tower key, so we can do a full tower run. I mean, there's a lot objective checks and whatnot that they can look at now.
Yeah, the underground is really, really attractive. I expect that Fleury will do the exact same thing. The music can still be required, of course, for other things, but also we can see the music later after a finisher is through. You can go and check Edward once you've completed the seed. You just reset and go check him and Troya and play the music by itself. So I believe we will still get to hear it, just not as part of the match.
I wouldn't mind seeing like a Darkness Crystal or a Luca Key at Twin Harp, but that's just, again, me looking for rabbit holes.
Oh yes, if the Darkness Crystal has that music and Fleury actually goes and checks it, that could be definitely nice, especially if the moon holds the other necessary key items.
Agreed, and especially since our runners they started with the teller. They have the grind option on the table. I'm willing to bet the moment they find the Darkness Crystal, they are filling out their party if it's not filled already, and getting that D machine grind over and done with, because yeah, once they've got that grind in, the seed's just going to go burr at that point.
Yeah, with players this good, once they have the levels to challenge the moon bosses, the game may as well be over, because they can clear the complete moon in just like 10 minutes or so. It's crazy fast. Well, the text box was too quick. I didn't see what was in that Feymarch chest.
That's looks like Sheep Launcher is bailing us out, because I totally missed her too. And that was a Baron key, so that's an interesting rabbit hole to go down.
I mean, it does have 2 key item checks there, but it is a little slow.
And we already know one of the bosses is Calbrand of the Dolls, so that's a decent spot to see it. Those dolls can be kind of interesting, especially if you let them forge into the massive Calbrand up, but I don't think at that spot that'll be a concern. Fleury is about to get that good news with the Magma Key, and Dusty is giving us our first look at those Feymarch bosses.
Ooh, it looks like we get the elements and CPU. These will not be challenged until post-grind. Those are some nasty bosses to find down there.
Yeah, that is a nope march. Nope march for sure.
Yeah, most of our big offensive options in the mid-game rely on spells, and CPU casts Reflect on itself automatically, so that's really rough.
Yeah, and as chat's pointing out, the elements at the Assure spot isn't the worst thing to see, because you can effectively lock the elements in the Mylon Z phase of the fight. So it's between the two, that'd probably be the first one that our runners will challenge. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how long it takes for us to get back there, if at all. And Chazman, we already have fought Ruby. Ruby was... Where was Ruby again, chat? Oh, it was on Mount Hobbs, having a chat with our Cecil. So we know for a fact that Feymarch has the elements fight.
We can see Dusty is already taking advantage of these underground shops. Popped into the armor shop for a sec to check out what was there. Not checking the weapon shop, though. At this point, I can't say I blame him, because the only one we're actually probably caring about the weapon overly much is Cecil. And we already have the lightsaber and a potential Excalibur on the table, so no need to waste the time checking.
And Dusty has done one of the required chat checks in terms of looking at our job dwarf, which has a random job every time we play this. And it looks like it was a residence counselor. It was residence for sure. The second word was too fast for most of us to see, but I think Scythe Marshal and Pyrolite are bailing us out on that one.
We did see the Ashura summon for sale in Tamra as well. Not sure if Dusty will pick it up. Of course, you're never sure what attack it's actually going to do. It's random. So when you really need it to bail you out, sometimes it doesn't come through for you.
And as Fleury is heading to Feymarch to get the bad/good news, kind of. We have Dusty checking out the Castle of Dwarves, probably setting up to see our first look at the first dwarf castle fight.
Yeah, this check would have been way more incentivized if our players hadn't already seen basically most of the characters they were looking for. This is kind of the last character check that doesn't take you a lot of time. There's one still on the moon, of course, when we find the darkness crystal, and then one in the giant, which you're almost never going to see.
And lo and behold, the dwarf castle is definitely the place to go, because we now have our cursed ring, which is fantastic news to pop on our Cecil to essentially let him get a few levels, but keep his agility low enough as to not mess with the black magic witchcraft that is relative agility. And if you think I'm going to explain relative agility, I'm going to mute myself.
Well, it is a nice pickup for sure. Long story short there, having to deal with Cecil being the agility anchor was definitely going to be a headache, but the cursed ring makes it much less so.
Looks like, I believe Dusty is going down the... it looks like he is going back into Fabul. So he is checking Sheila 1, see if she has the goods. Sheila's been actually pretty nice this tournament, giving a good amount of key items, or really good items in general. So we can find out what is the first item she gives.
Looks like this time it's the Sand Ruby. I believe it was Rosa in there, which is a nice pickup if our players decide they need that white mage.
Now that's a tough call, because I mean, yes, she's a fantastic all-around character, but it's a matter of, does Dusty or Fleury think that they are comfortable enough to rely on like self summon or even Tella for that matter to get those heals? If so, Rosa might not be chosen, especially with that second Riddy on the table. If they think they need a little bit of healing, Rosa might be a good option.
Yeah, it just depends on how much you think you're going to need the healing in the mid game, and how many nukes you want to have available to yourself during the Threemus fight.
It looks like both you and I were duped by the white hair. It was not, you thought it was Rosa, but it was in fact me, a third Tella. So that makes that decision real easy.
Just throw that Sand Ruby away.
It's like you can run in, toss the Sand Ruby at Tella, and by the time they sit up, you're already gone. And Tella's just like, oh, thanks.
We're seeing Fleury is following pretty closely to Dusty Griff's path, now going to find that Sheila 1 check and that disappointing Sand Ruby.
Now at this point, looks like our runners have pretty much done all of the roughly same checks. Where do we go from here? Do we get the music check? Do we do the tower? Castle? Where would you go right now?
I mean, at this level of play, you almost have to follow the math, right? And Tower has two key items for us, since we already have the Tower key in hand. That's where I'm going, and it has less cutscenes than Cave Magnus. So, and Fleury is actually gained some time here because he did Fubu earlier. So really, these players are neck and neck. It's all going to come down to the decisions they make right here.
Agreed. And there is the Baron checks, which it looks like there is that. No, it doesn't look like there's divergence at all. It looks like they are both doing those Baron checks. So yeah, we do have two relatively easy bosses that lead into a key item. Then there is the Odin Throne, which is a roughly harder fight between the previous two bosses that also gives a key item. So we'll see. And it opens up the Baron Baron shop, which is a highly gated shop with some pretty good items, usually for sale.
And we saw rune bangles for sale. Fleury's not going to pick any up right now, or maybe actually going back to sell some stuff and maybe get them. But long story short here, although these players are both extremely good, I am skeptical about them being able to beat the Odin throne spot with their current parties, depending on the boss that's there, of course. There's still a lot of boss possibilities left that could be very nasty there for our level of party power currently.
I mean, I'm trying to think about what bosses would be relatively easy to take on. And yeah, considering going back to us talking about a lot of the free bosses we already found, it's a bit harder to pick out a boss at the Odin throne that the runners can take on because we've seen all these free fights. We've seen the water hag, which is the first one that came to mind. We've seen the three guards and the officer. I mean, we've seen Bahamut. So it's yeah, there's not many. Maybe a plague if you want to roll that game, but yeah, there's not too many that I can think of.
dustygriff showing us the usefulness of Leviathan there, getting through the dolls quite easily. We're about to see the boss in Baron, which should be cleared out pretty easily as well.
Today, the role of speaking of Leviathan. So you summon. See, that's what happens when you summon Leviathan. It takes over Baron Castle if you do that.
You know, from one king to another. Am I right?
I just always picture them taking the Baron, like the Baron King, just Scooby-Doo that whole outfit off, and then suddenly it's a nope rope, or it's 6 dolls standing on top of each other, or something weird like that. Ooh, we have some Leviathan on Leviathan action. There we go. Check. Congrats.
1, 2, 3, 4. I declare a noodle war on you.
I love it. We got Teller doing work with that very spicy lit 3, and with that nope rope is noping out of there.
Ooh, Fleury is just one boss fight behind right now. This is tight.
As we wait to see what's in the Baron trash can, we'll see. Oh, look, hey, it's a bard! Even better! Oh, and it's a nice bard sprite, too.
I don't know why you say goodbye, I say hello.
And the aptly time mentioning the Baron in the trash cans, I'm just kind of over here going, it's an Edward! And everyone's like, speaking of trash. Eddie is still best boy. You can fight me on that still.
He does have such touching scenes in the original game, but not the case here.
Yeah, fair enough, I guess. Oh, well then, we are online. We are not in go mode, but we have the grind that is on with the darkness crystal.
Oof, with that, that's going to enable the level grind, which is going to mean the rest of the seed is going to go extremely quickly and basically come down to which way players go. After the grind's complete, we have the tower available, we have music available, we have all the moon bosses available. Cave Bahamut is an objective. There's so many different directions they can go, and we're really only basically one key item away from being able to go mode. So the risk is really high that you'll go the wrong way at this point.
And although there's a little bit of weighted or higher weighting towards key items and whatnot being like in vanilla spots or on the earth, I don't know. I think if with you going to Cave Bahamut, I would almost want to stay on the moon and just see if I can get some really quick checks out with some of those bosses. I mean, the D-Lunar spot with the 2 ribbon or the 2 key items in the vanilla ribbon chests, that would be a fantastic place I'd want to go just for the condensed value right there.
Yeah, I mean, with so many checks available to you right now, and either one of the Legend Sword or Luca Key going to put you in go mode, it's very tempting to, like as you said, follow the math there on the lunar subterranean.
Now, what's really interesting right now is Dusty looks like he's about to be setting up that grind. Fleury, I think, went to the tower.
Yeah, it looks like Dusty wants to check some stuff on the moon first. Has gotten the whale and is going to the moon. Meanwhile, Fleury is going to make these tower checks, so we finally have some divergence here, and this gamble could pay off for Fleury.
And Chad's bringing up a very good point. There is condensed key item checks here with the 2 checks. Fleury and Dusty are both at 9 key items, so they are 1 key item away from essentially getting the double XP if they do their grind. So that could be why Fleury is making those quick checks right now. But on Dusty's side, I believe we are about to see who is in the value cave, and it looks like some guards.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's the final free boss remaining, and it happens to be at the objective.
Wow. That's a thing. Meanwhile, in the what looks like the super cannon room, we have a pale noodle with pale dim. So kind of a punchy boy, but with this spot having very little HP, this shouldn't take too long to beat.
Free bosses, we brought them to you.
And with this fight, the biggest reason that it's free is you just need to, well, mute them, size them, do something, tote them, just status effect them, and they are useless. However, Boarface heard that and was not happy, so Boarface decided to no Patella from doing exactly what he wanted to do.
Yeah, it's going to be some dice rolls here while we try to keep Patella alive. Yeah, Dusty resets there, trying to reset up.
I think the Seed was a little unhappy that we called that a free fight there and said, yeah, well, these guards can still hit you really hard. Sorry, not sorry. Free-ish guards right now.
They're free light.
They're heavily discounted, I guess we'll call it that.
They're manager special.
Now, what's interesting is I don't believe Fleury did the top of tower check, but they did do the super cannon check. So we will be seeing what the item is, and Fleury is definitely hoping that it is at least a key item. That is not technically a key item.
Yeah, it is nice to get the pass, especially if you end up having to do Objective 1 and come back to Earth after getting it. But yeah, Fleury's definitely trying to look for 10, and it just wasn't it.
And chat, Motoss, Fleury is going to someplace special.
Yeah, this is Fleury realizing that a gamble's the only way. So we're going to see Cave Magnus here, and we're going to see if the music actually pays dividends.
I mean, really, it's going to pay dividends one way or another, just for different people.
Right you are. This is a check that runners usually shy away from because it is quite a lengthy cutscene for just one key item check, but sometimes you just gotta go where your heart takes you when you're in this randomizer.
Yeah, and on Dusty's side, he is putting a lot of time into this fight, which could actually really benefit Fleury. If Dusty keeps having trouble and the AI just keeps dusting Dusty, Fleury can easily take the lead here, especially if this is like the Luca key or the Legend Sword.
Yeah, if this Bahamut doesn't pay off and Fleury's check does pay off, that will put Fleury squarely in the lead, because either way, Fleury's going to go grind after this check.
Agreed, and at that point, all he would have to do is take on the guards that Fleury's dealing with right now.
Dusty's getting very unlucky here.
But with that, we are getting our music check, so keep those Freon harps going in chat, and we'll find out what Calamity has put together for us tonight.
So as you're hearing, this is the photo theme from Earthbound, which we've also used as part of a little game we call Rate That Treasury sometimes.
That's what that's... Okay. Chat had to bail me out there because I have never played Earthbound. I'm like, this sounds like the Rate the Treasury song. Oh, that's so cool. And,
very, very cheeky. I love it.
And it looks like we have some D-Lunars defending the Twin Harp location. So looks like one D-Lunar is down thanks to a nice Fire 3. Dusty is getting some weeks off with the guard. So it looks like both of our runners will be completing their fights in the very near future.
Ooh, we're coming to the moment of truth here because the key items here are actually going to really matter if they pay off what we need. So on Dusty's side, we get the Earth Crystal. That's not what he needed, but it does give him 10 to cut his grind time in half.
Definitely gives a treasury, it gives key items, it gives characters, but not the objectives that they were looking for. On Flurry's side, one more Fire 3 should do the trick. A little bit more than that. That is a strong frog.
Flurry, at minimum, needs this to give a key item. For real, for real.
Agreed, yeah. If this is not a key item, this is going to be disastrous for Flurry. He's gonna be behind the gun so badly.
Yeah, the key item density has been very high so far. We have rarely seen 10 key item grinds during this phase of the tournament, so I'm actually surprised that they're even within shooting distance of 10. Oh my goodness.
Gosh, that is not just a key item. That is the Legend Sword. That is effectively go mode for Flurry.
Oh.
Cave gives the value.
This is really, really bad news for Dusty Griff. Dusty, I believe, will continue to fade music. So Dusty has to hope that after his grind, one of the very first checks he makes gives the Luca key. Otherwise, wow, Flurry is definitely in the lead now with that Legend Sword.
So at this point, and we have Edwards. And, you know, people be talking about trash with the Eddie. Eddie's strats are now on the table. Which could be, I mean, it's a very long, very strenuous grind against Z, but it's doable. And to answer the question in chat, Flurry has not only done Eddie strats in this tournament, but Flurry has also won a match, I believe, doing Eddie strats in this tournament. So yes, he does know how to do them.
Yeah, and the fact that Fleury is going to check shops right now may even indicate that he's looking for that, because you do need Star Veils, and it's nice to have vampires as well.
But that other question is, what is going to be faster? I mean, there's the 10 key items, so do we grind anyway? Or do we take the gamble and do Eddie strats?
That is the question. The Z fight using low-level Edward strats takes quite a while, and you'd be surprised how much a player like Dusty can get done in that 15 or 20 minutes.
Agreed. Especially if he finds the Luca key, or he decides to go to Cave Magnus and find that Legend Sword. I mean, it would be Fleury gambling that Dusty does not find the key items that he needs to go into go mode, and in the amount of time that it would take to do Eddie strats.
Yeah, I really, really like this play by Fleury now. You know, if you can't beat him, join him. If you think that, you know, Dusty is going to go to the moon and play the math, you go the other way. And it has paid off now for him.
But as chat has noticed, that Fleury did buy a Soma drop, and looks like he gave it to Tella. And pretty much the main reason that you would do that is you are giving Tella MP, 10 MP specifically, to do a grind.
Yeah, the real question of the seed is definitely going to be, where does Dusty go after this grind? That's going to determine everything.
Agreed. And I don't believe Fleury has picked up a 5th character yet, just side point of note. And those are some interesting items in that shop there.
Yeah, you should never skip the Coco shop if you unlock it. There's always some gems hiding. Fleury didn't pick up anything, but there was some good stuff there.
Now, another point of note is that, remember, Dusty has three black mages in his party. Fleury, at most, will only have 2. Because instead of picking up the Palom originally, Fleury picked up the Cane.
Right, and overall, that's going to make the Zeroma's fight slower. And you may be wondering, well, why? Can't Kane just deal the damage that the Black Mage would have done? No, not at all. In fact, physical attackers are somewhat of a liability when you're using reflect strats in the Zeroma's fight, because if you attack at the wrong time, you'll trigger the HP refill, and you will undo all your hard work of reflecting all those spells.
Yeah, I believe it's an additional 40,000 HP or so, because back when this was made, the SNES could only take so much data, and could only put Z's HP at so high of a point. So the best way to do it is essentially give him a hidden life bar.
Yeah, and they did use that same trick in some other endgame fights, such as the Elements, which is why you can kind of skip phases on that as well. If you deal enough damage to the first chunk of the boss, you will never see the back half.
And it looks like Fleury is rounding out his party with that Quack Kid. So we are going to get not just a Quack Kid, a slingshotted Quack Kid. And it looks like Fleury will probably be joining Dusty on that grind soon.
And the good thing about slingshotting your black mages is basically the levels of the mages you already have are all you're worried about, because by the time they get to nuke, your slingshotted mage will also get nuke and more than that.
Agreed. And side note, as Dusty is doing some grinding, Fleury is about to be doing some grinding. Quick shout out to, again, everybody that has been a part of Highway to the Threemus Zone from day 1 to game 3 of today. Our runners, I mean, we had a massive pool of fantastic talent this whole time. Our restreamer today, Smapedy, who has given us a required music check, which is always fantastic. Our tracker, Aegis, Motoss, fellow co-commentator, fantastic all-around human being and lore master supreme. And chat in general, thanks for sticking with us this whole time. This has been a fantastic, really fun tournament to be a part of and to watch. I mean, shout out to all of you too.
Well, and to yourself as well, Asuka. You have become quite the well-known restreamer during the course of this tournament, and known for your kind of, shall we say, tricky seeds. I think that's the generous way to put it.
I like to call them high anxiety seeds. They started off as slogs, then I realized that I could put just as much anxiety into a jet seed as I could a slog. It's funny because I don't compete in these tournaments, so I don't have to suffer my own fates.
I'm going to meme it up here and explain. On Fleury's screen, you'll see Dusty already did this, but he's basically setting up a manipulation for the D-Machine fight. And I'll say, like, imagine it's like a bus. The bus has to stop at the stop. And the stop you need is D-Machines. So we're just lining that up so that you get the right fight once you go to the Giant of Babel.
Just be thankful that the bus is not the desert bus, because then this would take a lot longer to do. Though it should be noted, an interesting factoid about this particular manipulation is that before this tournament, this manipulation really wasn't known. What started this was that the can't run flag has been on this entire tournament. Normally they would just go to the giant and keep running, trying to find encounters, and just running when they didn't find the one they wanted. Well, with can't run, you can't do that anymore. So I believe, oh man, it was, and I am forgetting their names right now.
I believe it was Twisted Flax.
Twisted Flax, and then one other person who did like the numbers crunching, and Twisted Flax put it all together. But they, yes, Twisted Flax and Simbu, thank you, chat. They were able to look at the data, pull some crazy matrix stuff, which I believe is on par with relative agility, and find this particular manipulation outside of Baron Inn, where you can find essentially the encounter seed that you're on based on the number of steps that you take outside of Baron. It requires resetting your game, looking at a chart, and you find the right encounter. You know exactly how many more fights outside of Baron you have to take, if any, to go right up to the Giant of Babel and walk right into a D-Machine grind fight, which is pretty crazy if you ask me, especially with how quickly that was found. Like,
yeah, and in the words of a famous line from Jurassic Park, you know, life finds a way, and when the tournament organizers turn on Can't Run, the players figured out a way to still do the preferred level grinding.
Right? It's like, oh, we have this perfect idea to make things a little more difficult. Well, that was on paper, and yeah, heck. Yes, Smakety put it nicely. We made the mistake of thinking we could take things away from speedrunners. Speedrunners finding exploits and code stuff and game-breaking stuff? What?
Yeah, you know, a lot of the tips and tricks that players use in Free Enterprise come from the vanilla Final Fantasy IV speedrun. This level grind included is used extensively in that speedrun. But some things have come up with basically the Free Enterprise community invented, so there's definitely some interchange between the two things.
Agreed. I haven't personally been a part of the community for an extremely long time, but just seeing how quickly the community evolves and adapts to every new wrench or twist and turn thrown in their way, it's pretty crazy. And like you said, a lot of it the roots can get traced back to the vanilla speedrunning. So it's been really fun to watch from kind of like an outsider just starting to make their way in.
And with that, Dusty's already done. If you've watched any of this tournament, then this grind is very familiar with you. You hit the alert, it summons a D-Machine. You cast weak on the D-Machine. You physically hit the D-Machine. You life potion it if you have it lined up. Rinse, repeat. Heal your party in between if you have to. These runners have it down to a science, which is why dustygriff's already done with it.
Yeah, and I don't think with a slingshotted Palom, Fleury shouldn't have too many more D-Machine grinds, especially with that life glitch in play. He should be catching up pretty soon, hopefully.
Yes, I'm still very interested. So Dusty is sleeping here in the big whale. I'm biting my fingernails here, wondering where he's going to go next.
I mean, this could very easily make or break this entire race. If Dusty goes to Cave Magnus, he's got his go mode. If he goes anywhere else and it's a dud, then that just buys Fleury a little bit more time for that grind to finish. Because really, all Fleury has to do is finish the grind, Cave Bahamut, and get to Z.
Yeah, and even if it's not a dud, let's say the Luca key is here. Actually doing the Luca cave takes longer than forging does. So Fleury's still kind of in the lead, even if this is Luca key here.
That is a very good point there. And it looks like the true king of Baron Castle. Okay, Dathus, you had your fun. You really did. Did you really have to put Odin on Odin's throne?
Everybody's favorite lightning avoidance demigod? I don't know what to call him, actually.
The anti-Sparky boy. And a horse. Speaking of vanilla speedrunning, alright, so normally if Dusty wasn't completely in post-grind mode, this could be a little scary fight, especially because Odin, well, can wipe out everybody. Odin doesn't like lightning, though, so with this kind of party and these kind of levels, we're already done. So let's see what that key item is going to be. If it is. That's not what Dusty wanted to see.
Yeah, quick reset. That's a scramble now.
Now where does Dusty go?
Oh, he didn't go to the crystal. That means he's staying on Earth. Where, though?
He might be going underground. If he's picking up the Enterprise. Yeah, he is going underground. I mean, that's Tower. That's Fourth Castle. It looks like he's going for that Tower key. But like we said at the beginning, Dusty likes staying on Earth. And I mean, at this point, it would have helped him immensely if he would have checked music. But we already know one of the key item checks is a dud with the Super Cannon room. Now we have to hope the top of Tower has the goods. It does have the pass, though, which is good, but it's still not what Dusty needs.
Yeah, Dusty would really like to see the Luca key at the top of here. Once again, that's really all that can save him at this point, is if Luca key is at the top of Tower.
And meanwhile, Fleury is just getting those levels slowly but surely. Well, I don't want to say slowly but surely, quickly but surely. And I mean, like we said before, as soon as he's done with his grind, it is legit go mode for Fleury. Ooh, and that is an evil wall at the top of Tower. So that is, again, with these levels, not too much of a concern, but wall can be kind of spicy. Especially a bouncing one. That's terrifying.
Oof, yeah, and like we said before, Dusty Griff, the extra black mages just give so much power. If they don't get one shot, they basically are just guaranteeing any fight is over within like 2 rounds of your party attacking.
Yeah, with these nukes, this evil wall should be going down pretty quickly. I'm kind of wondering how many more D machines Fleury has to go, because he's been at it for a good amount of time. He really doesn't need to go full-on power overwhelming here, but we'll see how many more before he's done.
I think the problem is Rydia is the slowest black mage to get nuke, and she's also the one that he took early. So she's not getting a slingshot here. I still think he's definitely done enough already, though, even for her, with the 10 key items.
Oh yeah, and it looks like he's setting himself up by taking out his Cecil. That's pretty much a very key sign that Fleury is pretty much wrapping this up. Meanwhile, Dusty has torn down the wall, and let's hope to see he finds some of value. That can be. That's Pan. That's 2 potential key items.
Oof, the dodges keep happening here for Dusty. That Pan can still pay off. It's going to take time, though. Time.
Yeah, at this point, Dusty really needs to hope that those checks pan out. And on Fleury's side, Fleury is done with the grind. Rydia is online with Nuke, and we are probably going to be seeing Fleury head up to the moon. And you're welcome for those puns.
Yeah, at this point, it's a dead sprint for Fleury. Get to the moon, get Bahamut done with, get back to Earth, use the pass, go. So Fleury's heart has got to be racing right now.
Oh, absolutely. And you actually bring up a good point that even though Fleury is on the moon, it is actually faster to finish Cave Bahamut, exit out, head back to Earth, and use the pass to go straight to Z, because you don't have to do the entire lunar walk to get from, well, where he is to Z himself.
Yeah, the lunar subterranean is a surprisingly large dungeon when you think about how old this game is, and it has a pretty high encounter rate in vanilla as well, so it takes a long time to do it. Now, the question would be, if the Pan doesn't pay off with the Luca key, then does Dusty check music before he goes to the moon? That's the next question. Depending on, because Dusty's Z fight is going to be faster than Fleury's, so even if Fleury gets there first, it doesn't necessarily mean Dusty is done.
Yeah, agreed. That could be an interesting series of events that is checked out. And to answer the question, chat, if the checks don't pan out, would that be a slow burn? Honestly, chat, I'm not going to spoon feed you those types of puns. Sorry. I'll take a pass.
Is that a hint that you think Dusty will win since he was in the spoon division?
I'm just channeling my inner Baka right now. Don't mind me. I'm giggling over here.
Okay, so let's see what the Sylphs are going to hand over.
I mean, it's a nice setup. It's a nice shirt. Not what Dusty was looking for. Not a key item.
Most disappointing sorcerer robes ever.
So like, hey, we let you use it. We let you use this as a summon from the get-go. We're not going to be that nice today. And with the amount of vanilla that I've seen in this game, chat, of course, I had to throw the spin pun in there. But let's see if Sheila 2 pans out. You already know what Sheila 1 gives. Let's find out how Dusty is.
Fleury at the same time, having a much easier time with those guards. And no, Sheila's just a life staff. Oh no, Dusty!
That is devastating for Dusty right now. It looks like Dusty is checking the Feymarch bosses, so he is hoping that the Feymarch has value. We know at least it doesn't have, well, the Legend Sword, but that Luca key, if that's hidden behind either CPU or elements, that could turn Feymarch into, well, a good option. Otherwise, Feymarch strikes again.
Whew, and that is objective 4 completed for Fleury. Fleury getting his crystal, just has to get to Zeromus and win.
Now, if you were Dusty right now, I would personally take on the elements knowing that you could lock Mylon Z in place. What are your thoughts on that one? Would you go for the elements, or would you actually take on CPU?
Oh, for sure the elements first. For one thing, it's way faster, and knowing I only need one item, I want to get the faster fight done with ASAP.
Good point. Looks like we are taking a swag whale to Troya. Fleury is not wasting time picking up the Enterprise. He's going straight to the pass in the giant whale. And so I'm noticing some blue cloth on sticks. I know it looked familiar, like they should be important, but I don't really know. Could you explain those?
Well, it looks like it's time. We have randomized sprites for the final boss. This is also, just like the music, custom. So it's time for us to find out whose butt are we gonna kick tonight?
Here I thought it was nap time.
Fleury is now entering this Aromas fight and is on track to foil the 3-0.
Oh no, and Elements only had a silver apple. That is not good for Dusty at all.
Yeah, every path is leading to a dead end for Dusty here. You hate to see it.
Well, looks like as Dusty is taking on the giant balls of computerized death, we are going to get, for Game 3, our first look at the Z-Spray. I mean, everyone always asks who, like you did, Motoss, but how is Butt? How is Butt today?
Meanwhile, Dusty is showing us the slog that is CPU at Feymarch. A lot of HP there, no way to deal damage without bouncing. Gonna get through it fine. It deals percentage-based damage, so there's no danger of wiping. Here comes the crystal. The true form about to be revealed.
Oh my gosh, so I think it's time to play that game that everybody loves with Rate That Treasurous.
The treasury.
Rate That
Treasury! Passed it up on the way to the pass door.
And I believe our Restreamer Spanky is playing that wonderful tune. So here's the weird part. Considering we have spare 60 on, so only 60% of those treasury chests or of chests in general are going to have items. This is really good luck. I mean, they're all loaded.
There's a crystal sword in every one of those treasure chests, I swear.
There's Hanzo steel. There's a crystal sword. There's adamants. All the adamants that are banned from this tournament are in every single one of those chests. So for those that had competed in this tournament, if you ever wanted adamant armor, they are right there. All you have to do is watch them get defeated.
This is the ultimate treasury of ultimate destiny.
So I will say, side note, Dusty only got a hook from the CPU, which is he can turn into Rat Tail now, which could give a key item. The Pink Tail is only going to give a decent piece of armor, so there's still hope that this rabbit hole pays off. But the music and I almost said the treasury. The music and the Z Sprite have a very interesting forces combined today, and I love it.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing for Dusty is all those moon bosses are still waiting, and they might they might be a lot of nothing.
And still, well, we all know it's music had the goods. And a spoon. The spoon strikes out of the rat tail.
Oof. Okay, so I just want to mention, with that spoon sighting, we have now seen every single key item except for the one that Dusty needs.
Which does tell us that, well, actually, no, because we don't know where exactly the Luca key can be found yet. But, yeah, thankfully, Dusty is getting the Black Chocobo. He is going to the music, and he's going to be in for a world of surprise when he finds out that's where the Legend Sword is.
Who, at least he is not going to what is a mostly haunted moon.
Agreed. Apex, they have not done Tower of Zot. Turns out we didn't need to go to Tower of Zot today. And with that, Fleury has gotten the flash crack, and boom! He has taken Game 3. We are going to see a Game 4 with a final official time of 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 34 seconds. GG's in chat to Fleury14. And hopefully we'll be able to talk to him shortly.
Fleury definitely has an uphill battle, even after surviving this match. Still needs to win out in order to beat Dusty to become the crowning champion of the Highway to the Threemus Zone. And just a note here, Fleury was actually a little touch and go in that fight. Basically only Kane and Palom alive to finish it out.
Speaking of, we have the Winter Master with the 2 R's. Have to keep the meme going. Fleury, welcome aboard. GG's.
Thank you. That was a little nerve-wracking there for a little bit.
I bet. What were your thoughts? And we had mentioned that in Game 1 you did the music check. It turned out to be a dud. Game 2, music check, hard required. What made you do the music check again in Game 3, and what was your reaction when you saw that Legend Sword?
Well, I'd love to say that I was just following Penguinator's advice he gave me last night to say do every other check, and that would have been the next in the depth chart, so maybe that. At the time, I really wanted 10 key items. I didn't want to do 12 times 2, and I kind of wanted to get a little more information to see whether or not Forge or going 2 Black Mages was going to be the route. And at the time, I still needed 2 key items, so I figured I was a little concerned about doing top of tower with the party I had without a cursed ring. And I was like, well, Dwarf Castle is probably fine with Leviathan, but I feel like if Dwarf Castle isn't it, Harp is probably where I go next. But I can make up some time if I do Harp first, and if it's not it, well then it's probably would have been the second check I would have done. So it's not like a huge time loss, unless like everything on Earth is busted, in which case, oh well. So it's kind of along the lines of I'm gonna jump up a check I would have made like 2 or 3 times, 2 or 3 times later down the road. You know, bump that up now. There may have been some recency bias with Game 2, but that was at least that's what I'm going with.
We actually lucked out. I believe the top of tower was the silver apple, so it was a dud.
I think top of tower had Pan, if I remember check right, but Pan did not have Luca Key. And also I saw the fight that was there, and just like, no, I'm glad I skipped it.
Yeah, we saw in your basically Dusty did not do that. He was also searching for 10 key items before the grind and went to do the Bahamut objective, and basically was hunting. Basically, his only chance was to get the Luca key, but as we saw in your spoiler log, it's deep in the lunar subterranean.
Yeah, it's Mura first, I guess. That I was definitely a little scared. Like getting the Legend Sword at Magma, I was like, okay, this is good, as long as like going along the beaten path doesn't get you the Luca key. And then when I saw the boss there, that was totally doable at low levels. I'm like, if this is Luca key, I'm probably behind even doing harp early. And when I saw it was Earth Crystal, I was like, all right, that's fine. That's fine. But yeah, that was seeing the free boss there was definitely a little concerning.
Now, I need to ask the question that I'm sure chat would like to know too. On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate that treasury?
I never went back to check to see what the treasury was, but the sprite was a treasure all in of itself. 10 out of 10 for sure. That was. I was telling Scott and Chap, you got to stop destroying me with these awesome sprites, and then the Z fight starts, and I'm too busy laughing to figure out what I should do next. Let's just throw in some run buffers and hope it works out.
I've seen some 17 out of 17s, a Z out of Z, so that was definitely a special one.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Well, Fleury, we can't let you go without asking the obvious question. Today, you've managed to get a win and keep both yourself and the tournament alive. 2 more wins needed to secure that championship. How you feeling about the next match?
Well, let's just hope, I guess, for the next match, it might be considered a very important Zima Zone finals, but for me, hopefully, it's just a Tuesday. And we'll have to see. I think you just got to play your game, right? Like, enough practice has gone into this point. We've played these flags to death, and like, we kind of know where the gambles are going to be, where they aren't. I think it's just a case of staying in game shape, not running push to jump flags. Sorry, Annadale, and yeah, just do your thing. We're looking at Tuesday for game 4, so hopefully you guys look forward to that.
Awesome. And actually, the one quick question I have to ask you, going back to your comp, why Kane over Palom initially?
I was so regretting that Kane as soon as I saw Palom and Mystidian. I took the Kane because I was like, I don't have any damage. Maybe I can make do with Palom, but that first fight might get tricky. Do I have the J items to get through? Kane makes it safer, but ultimately picking up that Kane was not a great play. And I probably shouldn't have jumped on the Rydia, but I mean, Leviathan Rydia is pretty good, so that one's a little less regretful. But the Kane was kind of, especially after seeing a second Cecil there, I was just like, do I really want to go shopping for a Black Sword or a Dancing Dagger? And of course, when that happens and you go one way, you find a Black Sword in Antlion Cave. It's like, well, great. Black Sword and Light Sword, like, I didn't need this Kane at all. Bummer. Hopefully that hook is an Avenger. I don't know.
Yeah, you have any more questions for him, Mota?
I don't. Just a big GG on your finals win here, and we'll see you Tuesday.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I appreciate you all taking the time to do the commentary and the restream. You guys are all great, and I'm glad we get one more. Hopefully we get another game, win or lose. I just kind of want to see this go 5. And everybody who's watching, if you want to run for Enterprise yourself, I believe community races are coming back tomorrow. We'd love to see you there. If it's going to be your first race, that's a good time to get started. So hopefully we see a lot of new and old faces tomorrow in the community race, and looking forward to game 4. Thanks, guys.
GG's again.
And as noted before the interview, Dusty was going to music and is now in the Zeromas fight himself, making quick work with the triple nukes. Cecil kissing the floor as expected. Dusty did hesitate to get levels on him just for agility purposes, so he's not going to be too useful.
And of course, quick shout out to our restreamer Smapety, who is continuing the Rate the Treasury meme with the fantastic Z music replaced with the appropriate Rate That Treasury music.
Yeah, so all of this happened so quickly, we didn't really have time to actually talk about the Z fight, but as you can see, the basic strategy is to bounce spells off of your own party that both avoids Threemus from counter-nuking you and avoids the HP refill, which is also scripted as a counterattack.
Yeah, and because they are the reflected spells, they're not direct damage. That's how Dusty's party with those mages can avoid that refill. So, with this party, the two Rydias, the Palom, this is going to be a fairly quick fight, and it probably should be over within the next couple minutes for sure.
Yeah, with no white mage, you're basically banking on the fact that you're only going to see the first big bang, and you're going to destroy Threemus before he gets to cast it again. And there it is.
There it is. With an official time of 1 hour, 21 minutes, and 1 second, dustygriff has defeated the Treasury, and GG's are going up in chat for dustygriff himself. And while that's all going down, we'll see if we can get him in here, and he is. Hi, Dusty. GG's.
Hey, GG's.
So what were your thoughts when you finally checked out Cave Magnus?
I figured I should have checked this sooner. Yeah, it was, I don't know, I checked out, it was interesting because I think Magnus would have been a good call like a lot of times in that seed or a lot of different points, but yeah, it made some sense to put it off for where I was in terms of getting the grind and having a lot of power to move through things fast, because Magnus takes a little bit of time, but yeah, it's one of those things that just happens. I cleared a lot of that seed. I also did some dumb stuff that seed, like my Barret Guards fight wasn't very clean, so I fell behind and played kind of, to efficiency at that point, but yeah.
Yeah, Cave Magnus is seeming to be the thorn of this finals series for both of you.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I should have known better than to leave it for so long, but yeah, especially with Snape derailed in the seat, but loves that Twitter. But yeah, no, it was, overall I thought my play on that one was okay. Got a little frustrated, like I said, with that Barret Guards play, but yeah, that putting Magnus off for a while definitely was the pain on that one.
Oh, I think Motoss, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I just was going to ask, we kind of figured you were looking for a 10th key item, which you did get from that Bahamut fight, but actually Fleury was doing the same thing, just different bosses.
Yeah, I was talking a little bit with Fleury after the match, and he had mentioned, he was like, I just continued clearing through Earth, which was also a really valid and good play. The only reason I was so dead set on Cape Bahamut was if that was go mode there, then I was set up very, very solidly. But of course, it wasn't. I mean, I think I got Earth Crystal from that, which I could have also checked out, but kind of glad I at least didn't do that, because that would have been extra checked for no payoff at that point. But yeah, it's different sort of ways you could go about trying to get to that 10 key item setup there for sure.
And read on the Earth Crystal check is just looking at the spoiler log, finding the Luca key in the Ogopogo spot. That would have been no thank you.
I laughed about that with Fleury after the match. It's like pretty much the grossest spot it could go on the moon.
Now I'll ask the same kind of lighthearted question that I asked I asked Fleury. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate that treasury?
Oh, it's a great question. I didn't check the treasury, but I'm gonna have to go back and look to see what it actually worked out to be. For the Threemus itself, I mean, I'll give it a solid 10 out of 10.
That was a good luck with all of them filled with in this sparse 60.
I know, you don't get that every time, hey.
So yeah, we are going to a 4. What are your thoughts moving in? I know Fleury mentioned that it sounds like it's going to be happening on Tuesday. We don't know, time to be determined, but are you keeping going with the same strats and plans as before? Or are you just kind of taking the breather, reviewing the tape, and kind of seeing what you can tweak for next time?
I would imagine pretty much the same thing I've been doing all along. I've said this like a few times that I have a bit of a game plan when I go into these, so that I don't stray too far from it. And yeah, it works out a lot of the time. This time it didn't, but at the same time, I think efficiency-wise, I actually played it pretty okay. But yeah, I think I'll be doing more of the same, which isn't very interesting, but also ends up with some success for me typically. So we'll see what happens in game 4, which I'm actually pretty excited that I lost tonight, to be honest, because I wanted to play I really did want to play another race with Fleury. Not that that was a reason for a loss. I was very much trying to win, but yeah, I'm pretty excited to play another match because I think this has been a pretty good series so far.
Totally get you. It's the more high level gameplay that we can see with yourself and Fleury, two fantastic runners that are really putting on a clinic to watch all of us. The more the better, in my opinion. So I get you.
Yeah, it's real fun to play against Fleury because I think it's we both play pretty similar, so you can just kind of see the little nuances in what we do in our, from what I've watched back, and we're so tight on our times. I mean, 10 minutes is actually, I think there's one of our longer times in between our finishes, so yeah, it's pretty good.
Awesome. Well, thank you for showing us such high level play, not just here, of course, but throughout the whole tournament. And this was only your third loss in the entire tournament, so I just wanted to point that out so the fans realize how rare it is to see you lose, actually.
Yeah, it's felt like a little very strange this tournament. I think things have gone my way, and luck has certainly played a very large factor in a lot of this, but I've been happy with how it's all turned out, no doubt.
In that case, I hope you've enjoyed Game 3. We look forward to Game 4, and GG's again for running a fantastic match today.
GG's, and thank you both for commentating, and thanks to the Restreamed team. Looking forward to that Game 4 against Fleury on Tuesday.
And with that, the tournament carries on. So we get to see more amazing gameplay. I'm okay with that. How about you?
Oh, for sure. I won't get to watch Game 4 live, which is my only regret.
No, oh no. That's what the VODs are for. You can always find those VODs on both Twitch and on YouTube for those that want to back watch some good, fantastic stuff. But yeah, with that, I mean, we can bring Game 3 to a close. Thank you again to our restreamer Smapedy, our tracker Aegis, my wonderful co-commentator LMMotoss. Any last little things you want to say or mention?
No, just thank you for being with me here tonight. This was a very exciting match to get to call. So thanks to the whole rest of the Restream team behind the scenes and the admins. This tournament has been just fantastic all the way through, and we are very much approaching the finish line now. So enjoy what little is left.
And as a reminder, we are doing community races coming up starting, I believe, next or tomorrow, I think. So definitely check out the Free Enterprise Discord for more information about that. We've got a lot of different types of community races with a lot of different types of flag sets, and it's going to be really fun for runners at all levels of play. So whether you're a seasoned veteran or you're someone like me that's kind of would see the seed and say, I could do that in 4 hours if I'm lucky. It's welcoming to everybody, and you'll have a good time. Stop by, check it out, meet some awesome people. It's a good time for everybody.
And one of the things that is run in the community is the Seed of the Week, which is done every week with a different flag set where you could run it at any time and submit your times independently. And we're about to send you over to Commander Leonhardt, who is doing this week's Seed of the Week. So if you want to run it yourself, I would avoid following this raid. Don't get spoiled.
That was the cleanest segue I have heard this entire tournament. I tip my hat to you. Also, do not spoil this race. You spoil this race, you get the bonk. You don't want the bonk. But with that, nighty-night. and enjoy some more friend prez.